'Twas the night before Christmas, at the North Pole's heart, where Miss Santa's celebration was set to start. Little did she know, as snow gently fell, her neighbor's dark plan would turn joy to hell. The abandoned mall stood, a looming facade, its windows like eyes, watching, cold and flawed. Inside, the neighbor worked with maniacal glee, twisting each store into a nightmare to see. Miss Santa arrived, with families in tow, unaware of the horrors about to grow. The doors slammed shut with an ominous boom, trapping all inside the mall's consuming gloom. In the toy shop, dolls turned their heads with a creak. Their painted smiles now seemed malevolent, bleak. Teddy bears growled, their eyes glowing red, as children cowered, filled with unspeakable dread. The food court's scent was sickly sweet. Dishes squirmed as if still alive to eat. Mannequins in storefronts began to sway, their plastic limbs moving in an unnatural way. Miss Santa rallied the terrified crowd, her voice steady, determined, and loud. "Stay close," she warned, "and don't lose hope. Together, this nightmare will learn to cope." Through darkened corridors they cautiously crept, where shadows danced and unseen things wept. Each step echoed in the eerie quiet, as fear and despair threatened to run riot. A child's sob broke the tense silence, awakening memories of past violence. Miss Santa knelt down, her blue eyes kind. "Tell me your fear, what's on your mind?" The boy whispered of monsters under the bed, of closet doors opening, filling him with dread. As he spoke, the walls seemed to close in, the mall twisting to match the fear within. Adults faced their own demons too, financial woes and relationships untrue. The mall mirrored each private pain, turning abstract fears to something tangible, insane. Miss Santa pushed on, her resolve unwavering, though the horrors around were maddeningly flavoring. She knew in her heart this was more than a game. To save Christmas, the source she must name. Deeper they ventured into the mall's core, where Christmas music played, distorted and poor. They reached Santa's grotto, once cheery and bright, now a grotesque parody, a horrifying sight. There stood the neighbor, eyes wild with hate. His tragic past had sealed this cruel fate. "Christmas," he spat, "is a lie, don't you see? It promises joy, but brought only misery to me." Miss Santa approached, her heart filled with sorrow for the pain that had twisted him, stolen his tomorrow. "The season's not perfect," she said with care, "but it's hope and love that make it fair." The neighbor faltered, his anger cracking, as memories of happier times came attacking. Miss Santa reached out, her hand warm and steady, to help heal the wounds that had made him so ready. The mall shuddered, its horrors receding, as forgiveness and understanding started succeeding. Slowly, the twisted nightmare began to unwind, leaving shaken families, but healing in mind. As dawn broke on Christmas, the mall stood empty, its dark purpose thwarted, its traps now plenty. Miss Santa emerged, weary but wise, the true spirit of Christmas alight in her eyes. For in facing the darkness, they'd found the light, the strength to overcome fear's bitter bite. Though the night had been long, filled with despair, they'd learned that together any horror they could bear. The neighbor, now calm, joined hands with the rest, his heart slowly healing, no longer oppressed. And as they walked out into Christmas Day's glow, they knew they'd survived the mall's horror show. Yet lingering still, in the corners of sight, were shadows reminding of that terrible night. For some fears, once woken, don't easily sleep, and the mall's dark echoes would forever keep. Miss Santa smiled, knowing the battle was won, but the war against darkness had only begun. For each Christmas to come, she'd remember this tale of the night they'd faced horror and managed to prevail. So remember, dear reader, as you shop with glee in the brightest of places, darkness can be. But with courage and kindness, we'll face any fright Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.